is 2026. We're almost through the first month of the year, if you can believe that. And I want to come out swinging and let you all know the top 5 mistakes I see investors making, why they're making these mistakes, what it looks like, and how you can avoid them. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. Your guide on this journey is Amy Sylvis, ready to unlock the keys to a life of true abundance. We're diving into everything from financial freedom and optimal health to meaningful relationships, geographic freedom, and everything in between. It's about creating a life rich in experiences, purpose, and joy. Get ready for empowering conversations, expert insights, and real-life stories that inspire you to live abundantly. If you're ready for the secrets to an abundant life, hit that subscribe button now, and let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. It's great to see you all. It is a gloomy day in Los Angeles, and we've had 70, 80 plus degree weather out here. So I know everyone's crying me a huge river that it's gloomy, but decided to, if you're watching me on video, a nice pink sweater to brighten up the podcast today. And if you're not watching on video, that's perfectly fine. You can just imagine me in pink, pretty in pink. Great to see you all. And I hope you enjoyed last week's episode with my mom. I'm still on cloud 9. She's incredible. So looking back, I probably should have asked her for more embarrassing stories. Maybe we'll have her on again. You all can let me know if more embarrassing stories would be fun. But hey, it's a solo episode. So as a reminder, we think about abundance in doing what we want, when we want, where we want, with whom we want, for however long we want. And oftentimes that type of freedom and that abundance comes from hands-off income. So these episodes are targeted towards generating hands-off income, investing, whatever's going on here in January of 2026. And I was really thinking about, as I'm talking to investors and evaluating more real estate deals, all those good things, what are some of the top mistakes I'm seeing from investors? Again, this isn't financial advice. This is education. So definitely seek experts, seek financial advisors, tax professionals, all those good people. But as someone that has spent quite a bit of time analyzing what the rich do and assessing the clues that they leave for all of us in the investing space, I wanted to share a few things. So the first one is probably going to be very obvious to you, but it is not taking personal initiative to get education on personal finance. I think it's a huge miss. I really do. I think this era of, or this mindset of, oh my gosh, I'm just going to leave it to a professional and hopefully, magically their advice will get me exactly to where I want to go. Whether it's an abundant retirement or having enough hands-off income to stop trading my time for money. The world does not work that way anymore. And thank goodness it doesn't, because this means we can, I wouldn't say bypass. I was about to say bypass. Who we can work alongside advisors who may do this full time, but also may have incentives that aren't aligned with ours, or may not have their own education in different areas to invest. There's so much information and education out there. Podcasts like this, seminars, webinars, books. The list is truly endless. We don't have to obtain formal education to be educated in personal finance. And by the way, formal education often doesn't cover personal finance anyway. So that is by far and away the number one mistake people make when investing today, yesterday, very likely tomorrow. So if you're not already on that train, please, reach out if you want some resources that are objective, that are free. There's just so much out there. And you may be saying, hey, Amy, I am overwhelmed. I'm busy taking care of my kids. I have a very demanding job. I'd like to have some free time to enjoy myself. What are you talking about? How am I going to have time for this? Fair. I'm not saying no. The other thing to consider, though, is, kind of the cost of not doing that, how much further you may be away from your goals if you're paying people for information that doesn't necessarily fit what you're looking for, or worse off, they're not availing you to opportunities that may make you more money or reduce your risk or reduce your taxes and all of that stuff. So there is a cost. Yes, we are all busy. I hear you completely, but let's find some time. I'm just going to encourage you. I'm just going to lead you down that path here in 2026. Whether you're driving in your car or you're on the treadmill working out or you're doing the dishes or whatever it is, get something in your ear, listen to an audiobook, listen to a podcast, attend a webinar, and let's get that ball rolling. Which brings us to number two, which is often those people who do get educated, which we love, which we appreciate, often fail to pull the trigger. They sit on the sidelines. They stand at the edge and they analyze and they procrastinate and they overanalyze again. And what about this? And I'm afraid. And oh gosh, I don't know. And what if this and that? Y'all, we have to start recognizing the cost of not taking action, the cost of analysis paralysis. It is real, it is tangible in investing, not advice, but almost everyone will tell you that time is your best friend. Time in the market, whether that's the stock market, the bond market, the gold and silver bullion market, the real estate market, it is costing you money, whether you see it or not, to sit on the sidelines and twiddle your thumbs and try and time the market, try to, find the exact right, whatever, eliminate all risk. Investing has risk. It just does. You're going to have some bumps in the road. Welcome to investing. It's far better, typically over the long run, though, that you get in and you do something rather than sit on the sidelines, despite some of those bumps and bruises that all of us encounter when we invest. So I'm going to encourage you there. The third thing is not taking into account what your likely largest expense over your lifetime is. You've heard me talk about it. I know you have. Say it with me now. What is it? Your taxes. Your taxes are most likely your largest expense, more than housing, more than food, more than medical care. I don't know, unless you're me. Maybe your medical care is higher than your taxes. But look, if we're not taking taxes into account and when we invest, how to mitigate them, how to keep more of what we earn, we're doing ourselves a massive disservice. We will have a podcast here soon with tangible examples showing you how much our money can grow and compound and get us to our financial freedom number when we do take taxes into account. So don't take my word for it. There are incredible professionals out there, some of whom I've had on the podcast, hint, hint, that you can reach out to for tax strategy. I just had Brandon Hall in my Get Out of California Summit. He gave a bit of a different talk than he's done here on the podcast, but go look up his episode, go to his website. I get nothing by referring him, talking about him. So all the people that I expose you all to, there's no conflict of interest. There's no financial benefit. These are simply people that I've heard great things about, that I've built relationships with. But the long and the short of it is, even if it's not Brandon, let's get in front of a tax professional. Let's talk about what is available to us when we invest. Can we change how we're earning our income? Very often, when we change where our income comes from, we can also change the type of taxes that we pay, right? I think it's the good Tom Wheelwright, one of the rich dad advisors, talks about, to change your tax, you must change your facts. And most of us just work a W-2 and then get frustrated that there aren't more tax benefits available to us. And yes, there are. So I'm not saying there are none. But when you are an investor, when you are an entrepreneur, there are often even more tax benefits available. So let's also focus, not investment advice, but it can be great to educate ourselves and take action. And of course, pay attention to what we keep instead of just what we earn. Have you ever thought about having multiple streams of income? Instead of relying on just one stream of income where you're trading your time for money, how would you like to free up more of your time and live a more abundant life? As a listener of the show, you're invited to attend one of our upcoming trainings, where I'll give you an inside look into how you can add passive income and get all the other perks of recession-resistant real estate investing without the headaches of being a landlord. I'll also be sharing some hidden mistakes to avoid and the criteria I personally look for when evaluating potential investment opportunities. To reserve your seat for free, go to sylviscapital.com/webinar. Again, that special link to reserve your seat for free is sylviscapital.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you on the training. And now back to the show. All right, number 4 is understanding what diversification means. Now, this falls back into this personal education. So, number 1, but truly understanding the definition of diversification. Now, what you do with that understanding is a whole different thing, but just understanding and taking into account that concept because, hey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Wall Street has had a way of manipulating the average American into thinking that if they're just invested in stocks, but it's small cap and large cap and international and growth and value and that means they're diversified. When in reality, stocks are just one asset class. They're paper assets and they often have non-correlated performance to other assets like gold and silver bullion, like actual commodities, not stocks that represent commodities, actual real estate, private lending, different asset classes. Now, I'm not saying you should invest outside of stocks and bonds, not at all. I'm definitely not saying that. What I should be more clear on is understanding what diversification truly means and that it's impossible to invest in a single asset class that's very correlated with itself, obviously, because it's a single asset class, and think that one is diversified. Now, whether you should be diversified and what you should be diversified into, that's a conversation for you and your financial planner. That is not something, obviously, I'm giving investment advice on, but I do see too many people completely duped thinking I've got mutual funds that are diversified of all stocks. I've got international stocks. You heard me say this already. When in reality, they don't realize that when the stock market moves, all of those stocks pretty much move together. So if diversification through non-correlated assets to smooth out the performance of your portfolio is of interest to you, that's something you can talk to an investment professional about, hopefully someone that doesn't make money off of what they recommend. We talked about that in a previous episode. But yeah, so understanding what diversification means, understanding if diversification is something you want in your portfolio, and then finally, of course, making strategic decisions into what assets, what diversified assets you want to invest in can be incredibly powerful. So it is a mistake to not understand what diversification means and how to apply it to your portfolio. By the way, did I ever tell you all before we get into number 5, did I ever tell you all that I used to intern at a large financial institution in the year 2001 when I was a sophomore in college? And my goodness, at what was I, 19 years old, did that really open my eyes to how a lot of financial advisory worked. Little 19-year-old me was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to work in this industry, or at least what I thought in that industry, which was one way of, hey, these people advise what folks should invest in and they make a good chunk of change off of what they advise. And that's the industry. I'm like, hello, conflict of interest. Is no one seeing this around me? Obviously, the world was quite different in 2001, and what individuals could access in terms of information and all of that was quite different. But when I talk about this topic of diversification and, of course, who we have advising us, I always harken back to that time because it was a true eye opener and super obvious to me at 19. I was just blown away at how people felt okay with what they were doing and the conflict of interest. So I'm not going to name the company. I don't want to get in trouble. I probably won't, but suffice it to say, it was a great learning experience and obviously an endorsement for why interning as a young person can be so valuable because often, even if you don't figure out what you want to do with your future career, you may back into and eliminate other things that you certainly don't want to do. And that was definitely something I did not want to be a part of. Didn't resonate with my ethics, you know? Okay, the fifth most common mistake that I see is not being willing to invest in advisors and professionals to help you along the way. I'm always shocked when I get messages from potential investors that want to work with us that ask for a referral for, let's say, a tax professional or a, you know, legal advisor who can help them, structure a trust or something along those lines, these financial professionals, and they hum and haw about the cost of their services. And I don't know. I think it's the difference between an investor mindset and a W 2 mindset of, to me, it's so obvious that if I pay someone round numbers, I'm just throwing something out there, but if I pay a tax professional 5K and they save me $50,000 in taxes, obviously, I will make that investment every single day and twice on Sundays. That's a 10x ROI. That makes perfect sense. If I, set up a trust correctly, and that means that I will save in legal fees or my heirs will save down the road because things are set up properly, or I've got proper asset protection where, something silly happens and I need to protect my assets and it's set up correctly as opposed to not correctly. That could save me hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more. That ROI seems quite obvious to me. And I clutch my proverbial pearls when I hear people like, oh, that's too expensive. I don't want to pay that. Really reminds me of this kind of W 2 mindset. Nothing wrong with it, but this idea that, oh, my costs are fixed. I'm only going to pay something if I have it in my possession right now. Things aren't an investment, they're an expense. And that's a totally different mindset that unfortunately is going to get us probably not to where we want to be from a financial abundance standpoint. Good people who are competent, know what they're doing, and will set you up for success are going to cost money. I'm not saying, hey, no matter what, trust everybody, spend, whatever they want to charge. But it is really illustrative of this mindset of trying to, save a few $1,000s only to pay out tens of thousands of dollars later when that could have been a reverse where you're investing to either grow your wealth exponentially from there or save a bunch of hassle from expenses down the road because things were done right in the first place. It is always pretty eye-opening. So these are our 5 most common investor mistakes, and we want to start your year off right here in 2026. Hey, if you found this valuable, do me a favor, share this with somebody. Add value to someone in your family, in your network, in your professional circle. Send this to them. We would love to help and add value to as many people as possible. And of course, we love your support here. Thanks for joining us on this episode, and we look forward to seeing you next week. All right. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that will empower you on your journey towards abundance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us, and it helps others discover the secrets to an abundant life too. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn, Amy Sylvis. Keep striving for your goals, nurturing your relationships, and embracing the adventure that is life. Until next time, we wish you an abundantly fulfilling day.